Press the cross button to start.
Alright, you know the deal. Push the cross button so we can begin. Finally, thank you. Alright, jumping into what should be a fun one. We're going to be racing against an ARA, American Rally Association racer here, or his ghost rather. This guy also runs a quite popular online rally part website. So this guy really knows his stuff, so we should have a fun race ahead of us here. Go into the leaderboard to go download his ghost. You'll see here his name didn't populate from Steam, but that's the guy. And a little sneak preview, you can see the times. We're in for a 26-minute video. The video is actually longer, but the course is going to be 26 minutes and some change. So you thought the last one was long. Well, welcome to this video. Like we talked about in the last one, mental fatigue, your level of risk that you are willing to take as the course goes on, right, will go down drastically. And you'll definitely see that reflected throughout this video. If you were to juxtapose these first few turns with the last few turns, man, it's going to be like a whole different driver's driving. You'll see that unfold over the next half hour. Come in here with full commitment, high energy. There's going to be a big crest up ahead, so we're going to brake just before. We're staying on the gas and braking just to get ourselves slowed down, trying to keep the wheels in contact. And here, almost treating this as a long, wide hairpin rather than a 3. Getting through this little section here with left foot braking, just left and right, trying to find that tempo, that little balance between left and right, so we can get our car nice position for the next turn. So far, we're ahead of the ghost, trying to keep that lead up, trying to make some time up here in the beginning, getting through this part. And at this point it's still kind of easy going, right? The mental fatigue hasn't set in. We're not really scared of wasting 26 minutes of our life for no reason. They're understeering into the tree, but that's okay. We're still in it, going forward. Here, kind of right, trying to stay on the outside of the turn until we need to get inside for the end, right? When you kind of stay on the outside of that turn, it gives you a little bit of better visibility into what's ahead. Of course, when you are on the outside of the turn, any understeer just puts you off the cliff, right? So when you're closer to the inside of a turn and you understeer, you can have some time to save yourself. So right, just kind of balance vision with risk. Here also, not the best way. I just, that constant understeering problem I have in this game, couldn't quite get it flicked in. But staying alive through here, we already hit the tree once or twice. But thankfully keeping it on the course. Really committed to staying flat on the accelerator at this point. And big overlap on left foot braking. Here, right, slowing from a 6 to a 3, right? So as we approach that 6, we want to stay on the outside, so when it tightens into a 3, then we're on the outside for that 3, and we can have that outside, inside, outside approach. So meaning, don't commit to the inside of the corner too early when you have one of those long radiuses that are like 6 into a 3. Here, coming across the hairpin, using that handbrake to get us rotated, and trying not to hit the stumps on the inside of these turns. And one more hairpin, using the weight of the car there from the prior turn to really help us get turned around. And then some good commitments through this corner. You'll see already we're almost 3 minutes in. So at this point my level of acceptable risk is going to start going down. I'm going to start taking it back from a 10/10 to a 9/10 slowly. Here even, right, like there, I didn't really fully commit over that crest, just because I didn't want to restart at that point. So probably could be taking some of these corners faster, right? These might not be the optimal way of taking all these corners, but this is a way you can take them without dying. Unfortunately, I think we do have a hairpin up ahead, where I do take a little bit of a detour. Unfortunately, did not set ourselves up for success coming off that little crest there, and we got to back up and try again. However, the ghost is still behind us at this point, so we made some good time up in those beginning sectors to give ourselves a little bit of breathing room. And coming in through here, just trying not to cut it too tight, not to get caught on the timber, which I kind of do there a little bit, which then puts me into the wall. But we're still alive. This 3 should have a don't cut, because man, I don't know if you see these little things on the inside, but that could end your time trial pretty quick. And at this point, 4 minutes in, right, kind of like the length of a standard video game course. But again, it would be a shame if we had to restart this all over again at this point. And man, we're barely 1/5 of the way there. So coming in through here, on the downhill, I feel like the downhill in this game, and you'll see I'm really starting to take these turns a little bit slow now. But on the downhill in this game, your car carries a lot of momentum. I feel like I have to brake earlier than I maybe would have thought, just so I don't slide down the rest of the mountain. So you'll see on these downhill sections throughout the rest of the video, I do kind of take them easy, again, just to not ruin my day. Because again, we're in a half-hour, whatever, it's like 26 minutes and something, track here. And it'd be a real shame if we had to restart, especially when we're like 15 minutes in or whatever the case might be. So getting ourselves safe in this section here. It's narrow, cliff on one side, kind of like a wall on the other side. Don't want to be hitting any of those. You see we've been taking a little bit too easy actually, and our ghost came back in front of us. So that's my cue that, alright, gotta pick up the pace a little bit, gotta get back in the throttle heavy, you know, get that bravery up. You know, bravery is the big part of rally. You know, it's like anybody can take a turn perfectly, but you know, who's gonna be the bravest to actually do it? You know, with the cliffs and the walls and the trees everywhere. So we picked up the pace a little bit. I think we're just in front of the ghost at this point, trying to keep it on the course, keep it tidy, and keep it fast. And again, through a lot of these unseen crests, a lot of these unseen turns. So for one, right, you do have your co-driver there telling you things, but also the way you position your car, right, for the outside of the turn, the inside of the turn, that can also affect your visibility through these corners. I'm actually even playing in this camera mode, just because the one further back, where you can see the dash, it has kind of like a big blind spot on the driver's side A-pillar. So again, just for visibility, especially, you know, like 30-minute course, I want to see where I'm going for 30 minutes. Even just considering what camera I'm using to get good visibility through here. Because the more you can see, the more confidence you have and the faster you'll go. Which again, talking about that level of risk, right? When you can see more, you can take more risks. You feel more confident in your abilities to really take that corner correctly. Coming up through these hairpins, trying, you know, not to cut it too short there and hit those logs. I think we did a pretty good job there. And man, 7 minutes in. 7 minutes in, not even halfway there. The other thing is like, what am I going to talk about for the other 20-something minutes, right? Well, we'll find something to talk about. Again, just with the long courses, it's hard to remember like what I was thinking at the time. Just generally, you know, trying to stick with the basics, staying flat as much as we dare. Which in this course, especially a 30-minute course, is we dare a lot less than usual to stay fully flat and committed. Big overlap on the brakes, so turning, getting the brake down to really set that angle, get the rotation, and then off brake, all while keeping some level of being on the gas. Even if you're not flat on the gas, you know, you should have some level, half throttle, 75% throttle, 25% throttle, right? Always should have some kind of throttle in there. I like to think of it as a jet ski, right? Like, if you're not on the power, you're not in control. So you don't always need like 300 horsepower down to the ground, right? But sometimes just a little bit can really help your situation out and keep you in control of your destiny, right? Keep you in control of where you're trying to go. What else? I think looking up helps, except in this course, right? Not many places to look up. So you really just have to trust the co-driver. The notes can be a little bit hard to trust, thus making your co-driver in this game a little bit hard to trust. I don't always like the timing or the call out, but generally should give you a good enough idea. But even still, kind of taking it easy. I don't know if you could tell, but at this point I'm probably in like 8/10ths mode, maybe even 7/10ths mode. Almost 10 minutes in, and not even halfway, right? So definitely trying to stay alive, trying to keep in on the throttle as much as we dare to really keep the speed up, as well as staying in control of the car. Looking as far ahead as we can go, so we know what to plan for, right? What's coming up ahead. Here, oh, that's another place where he should have said don't cut, because there were some stumps really close on the inside corner there. So again, those notes, you can't always trust them. And let's see what else. So, big points of rally, right? Staying flat and overlapping left foot braking, looking up as far as you can see to really understand what's coming up ahead of you. Allow yourself to position yourself for success, right? So if it's a left into a right, if it's a right into another right, just think about where you're going to position your car relative to the course. That will give you the smoothest radius for the next upcoming turn. And what else? Big on the brakes, so small hands, big feet. So really trying to steer the car with our brake inputs and our throttle, and trying to keep the steering, to as much as we need, which mostly, for me at least, in this game and, my steering wheel, it's about 90 degrees left, 90 degrees right. For most of this course, for most of, all the courses in these games, 90 degrees left, 90 degrees right, and just big brakes, big throttle out will help me get the rotation I need. So still alive through here. Have bashed the car up, a little bit, but we're still alive. We're still in it. I think we're still ahead of the Ghost. By how much? I don't know. We'll see maybe in the next checkpoint, which might be coming up shortly. As we complete this sector, possibly. There it is. -9. Okay, so we've really been putting down a good pace on these last few sectors here. Giving ourselves some breathing room from the Ghost, because again, anything can happen. Like, we can mess up like we did earlier, right? So having that breathing space to be able to back up and get ourselves back on the course, right, that's going to be huge to our success here. And it's parts like this where you can finally see ahead of you. It's like you got to make the most of it. When you can see the course ahead, you got to really hammer for it, so that when you have these little trickier situations where you can't see, you can afford to let off, because you really went balls to the wall when you had the visibility to do so. And again, here 12 minutes in, right? So that level of acceptable risk, I don't want to do anything too crazy. I want to be fast, but I don't want to have to restart this, because that would be a big shame at this point. So coming in through here, trying to keep a straight line through some of these left rights, as little radius as we need to keep our speed up, and just powering through the course. Left foot braking, everything you see here, left foot braking. So turn, left foot brake, you stay on the brake for a second or two, let off the brake, and you've been on the throttle that whole time, so as you let off the brake, your car starts powering out. Trying to stay awake, maybe not awake, right, but just aware of what's going on. 13 minutes in, I can definitely tell you several times throughout the course of this, I was thinking about, like, oh man, what if the video doesn't save? What if there's like problems, either like editing it or saving it? Like, oh, what if I do all this and like the video doesn't, all these things on my mind that isn't driving. And even there, like, out of that hairpin, pretty slow out of these corners here. Definitely not my best performance. But again, that's what happens when you have a half-hour long course. Not every turn is going to be, your best way of doing that turn. You're just trying to stay alive, trying to stay concentrated, and trying to stay fast without dying. Again, hairpin right with those logs on the inside, so try and give some good space on the inside there. And this little section, it was a kind of a tough one just because you have all these trees kind of blocking your view, like the leaves especially blocking your view upwards and forwards. So 14 minutes in, you know, it'd be a big shame if we went off now. So really trying to keep it tame, keep it under control, keep it cool. Especially when we hear these 2s and 3s, especially after a long, you know, straight or something. Ooh, almost getting ourselves rotated there in the wrong axis on the roof, but thankfully we make it out alive. You know, you steer into it and it puts you back on your wheels. And another hairpin here. Not the best, but really not bad. Again, using the handbrake there just to get myself rotated in this game a little bit better. Navigating through these corners, still staying alive. Definitely, you know, hitting some walls here and there, but that's how it goes. And again, here, just kind of a slow way to take that turn, but again, just the level of risk I'm willing to take, I just don't want to go off the side of any of these. So really overslowed myself for that one in particular. But you know, trying to make it to the end of the course, trying not to restart, trying not to die, trying not to waste my life by having to restart and do it all over again. So you can definitely kind of maybe tell at this point, right? The steering has gotten a little bit sloppier. We're not taking these turns with, you know, as much precision as we did in the beginning. Just because, right, there is some level of fatigue starting to set in here. I definitely want to be done with this at this point, but we're only halfway complete. So, right, just mental resilience, trying to stay concentrated on the pace notes. Because if you can really believe the pace notes, then you can set your car up to really take the next turn beautifully. It's all about the next turn, really. It's like, how fast can I exit this turn so I can take the next turn faster. Here we go with don't cut. Should have been several other don't cuts there, but thankfully we didn't cut there. And especially at this point, like if I hear don't cut, man, I'm hearing like stay outside at that point. Like I don't want to take any risks with being too close to the inside, ending my time trial here 16 minutes in. Alright, finally out of that section. But this next section looks pretty much exactly the same. A little bit faster, but again, being 16 minutes in, I don't have the bravery to really stay flat through all of this. So you'll see me lifting, perhaps, or just overriding with the brakes, just to get my speed a little bit more under control, so when I go over a crest or something, I'm not flying off the edge. Here, man, couldn't get myself rotated for that chicane, but stayed alive, got out of there, on to the next. At this point too, the whole time in the back of my mind, I'm thinking about this ghost, you know, like, I don't know how far behind me he is, so I'm trying to stay brave through these points of staying flat, and I'm also trying not to bin it 17 minutes in. So at this point, the name of the game kind of stops being stay flat and don't die, and it becomes a little bit more about risk management. So how much are you willing to risk in each turn? You know, at every turn you could die. You could go off the cliff, into a tree, and right now I'm still in front of the ghost at this point, right? So I have to risk a little bit just to stay in front, but I don't need to risk my whole life, you know, to stay in front of this guy. So we're down to maybe like the 7/10, 6/10. We're really trying to take it easy and get home to the end of this point. 18 minutes in, we still got almost 10 minutes left. Lots of death ahead of us, right? So we're going to try to avoid all of that on our way home. Because, as we remember, most accidents happen close to home. Getting through there, getting a little bit sloppy, so that was a situation where I couldn't find the back paddles. I couldn't find the paddles in time to shift, and we got a little bit out of shape there, stuck in fourth gear. Here, again, I'm just flustered at this point about what happened there with the fourth gear mishap. but kind of getting myself mentally back in it. We've let the ghost past us through those mistakes. So now, you know, kind of have to pick the bravery up a bit, get back in the throttle, and get through these next turns quickly. You see, we've already caught up. We're either like right on top of the ghost or just ahead. But we're having a good fight with this guy. There he is, coming back into the picture. Again, pretty distracting to see this guy, you know, swinging his ass left to right in front of me, as I'm trying not to go off the cliff. But, you know, kind of makes for a little bit of a better video maybe, and also kind of lets me know that, hey, you know, this ghost came in front of me, time to pick up the pace. Would be nice to have maybe like a dedicated ghost on-off button, and maybe there is one, I haven't actually checked. But it would be nice to have like a little button on the wheel that you can just, on the fly, turn the ghost on and off when he gets too close. So here, now we're behind the ghost, so now, you know, we have to risk a little bit more to try to get the speed up, to try to get in front of it, right? Because, you know, what if we do this whole thing and we end up behind the ghost, right? Then we also wasted our half hour here, because the point is to beat this guy. And thankfully, we found our moment there to be able to get ahead, and now we have to stay committed to staying ahead. Getting through here, about 6 minutes left, so 6 minutes left of avoiding death, and trying to avoid getting passed by the ghost. So, right, lesson learned, we can't let up too much, because the ghost is right on us. So risk management, again, name of the game, risk management. And understeer simulator, but try not to understeer, trying our best to stay fast, stay on the course. Left foot braking into here, getting just in front of the ghost here, and let's try to keep that lead for the next 5 minutes at this point. So getting through here, again, trying not to die off the cliff. Thankfully we had those little barriers there to save our life. Managed to get back in the power. Still ahead of the ghost. Get me around that hairpin, let's get out of here. Coming in 0.3 seconds ahead of the ghost, so it's a tight one. You know, we both made a mistake here and there, but it's still a really tight race here. And another mistake there by me, understeering yet again. But we haven't seen the ghost pass ahead of us yet, so we're still doing okay. But definitely the whole time in the back of my mind, I'm like, man, made several big mistakes, so I gotta stay in it, gotta keep going for it. Because it'd be a shame if we made it this far just to lose to the ghost. And again, we have these tight ones, these twos, right? So low level of risk, man. I don't want to fly off any cliff. I don't want to get Austin powered by hitting, you know, one of these trees or something, and now I'm like perpendicular to the course. So looking to the left on our timeline there, we're getting close. We're almost at home. So, you know, we gotta start watching out for those accidents to happen. Taking it slow through there, right? Really taking care of ourselves, making sure to not go off the cliff this late in the game, but also balancing it out with having to stay in the throttle as much as we dare to stay ahead of this ghost. Again, some of these turns, right, you're going up into a blind crest, so trusting the pace notes, trusting that the car will turn in, perhaps getting over-rotated so that you have more rotation rather than less, so you don't go off the cliff, but rather, you know, you can kind of save yourself from over-rotation a little bit more than you can by under-rotating and going off the cliff. And just kissing the tree on the exit there into a semi-long straight. So again, whenever you have these tight turns into somewhat of a straight, the exit speed is everything out of these tight ones. So they'll be trying our best to get good exits out of them. And I don't know if you can notice at this point, but this is where like that mental fatigue and stuff really starts setting in. Even just like on the pedals, you know, you've been flat on the accelerator, you've been doing big brakes, and I have these load cell brakes, whatever they're called. They're just hard to press, right? So, you know, you're nervous, you don't want to bin it 23 minutes in. You also want to stay ahead of the ghost, doing lots of risk management, mental fatigue, trying to get home and trying not to fall off a cliff, which thank God we have these little guardrails here, because that's twice now, right? Just understeering is a thing that happens to me often in this game, unfortunately. So that juxtaposition I talked about at the start of this clip, you know, you can probably start to see some of that now. Definitely not hauling through these turns like I did in the beginning. Definitely a lot less brave going through some of these, a lot more trying to not go off the cliff. The lines are getting kind of sloppy just from that fatigue. You know, it's a big change the way this video started from how it ends. And you know, at this point we maybe pick up the pace just a little bit from maybe like a 6/10, 7/10, maybe just, you know, up one notch. Because here we can kind of see a little bit more, so we can trust those pace notes. And we also want to finish ahead of the Ghost. So again, it would be a real shame to get past, you know, in the last sector or something, and then pretty much have done all that for nothing just to lose to the Ghost. Up by 2 seconds. So that was a fun one to see. That let me know I was doing a good pace. Have some room to spare, you know, kind of can take it a little bit easy. Getting back on the power, trying to get as much straight line speed as we can, while also here taking it easy because, you know, there's death ahead of us. Those 3s, those 2s, you know, lots of opportunity for death here in the final sector, which would be a real shame at this point. 25 minutes in, you know, just get me home, get me to the end of this video, right? Like, can't believe you guys are still here. What a what a video this has been. Which, thanks for sticking around, you absolute legends. I'll try to make some more educational content, let's call it educational, in the future here. Just not much of an opportunity to do so on a 30-minute course where you don't see the same turn twice. You know, just giving some tips and tricks where I can. But, you know, 30-minute stage is not the best place to provide lessons. So, trying to get through the end of this video, through the end of this course. Man, looking up at that timeline, we're so close. We got our hood shaking here. The car's ready to go home. I'm ready to go home. Would be a shame if that distracted us. Unfortunately, as we know, where do most accidents happen? Close to home. And I am livid right now. I'm like, I cannot believe I just went through all of that to bin it on the last turn, but thankfully, thankfully, we managed to get it. We managed to get it just by 8 seconds in a 26-minute course. So, you know, 8 minutes, that's a hell of a margin over 26 minutes. So that was a really fun one. Coming in at 8th in the world for this course in the WRC2 spec car. Thanks for watching. Thanks for making it through all this. See you in the next one.